Hello buddy, it's Bendominator and welcome back to a brand new video. So it seems that Fortnite is building up to the brand new live event that we will be seeing at the end of this season, and part of that is releasing this brand new POI known as the Collider. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving my honest thoughts and opinions on this brand new POI as I do with every new POI release. So if you guys do end up enjoying this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new because I make videos like this all the time, and you can also use my supporter creator code Bendominator in the Fortnite item shop #ad. Let's go ahead and get right into the video. So yeah, the Collider, brand new POI, and honestly, I wasn't really expecting this one. I don't think this POI actually really ever got leaked beforehand. It kind of came as a surprise to everyone, and I feel like the general consensus on this POI is that it just kind of exists. It's just kind of here. It's not anything too crazy exciting, but I will say that I do think it is actually a pretty good POI, and I appreciate the fact that we are getting a brand new POI, even if it's pretty late in the season. I do feel like something like this could have been added quite a bit earlier. I think that if this POI came out earlier in the season, it would have had a lot more impact, because I think at this point most people have kind of finished up this season and they're just waiting for the live event to happen. But I still do think that it is a fine addition to the map, and I'm just glad to see something new at all, because I genuinely wasn't expecting to see a new POI before this season ended. So yeah, it's a nice surprise, but I don't think it's really the best POI we've seen on the map. So I'm going to go over my negatives with this POI first, and then I'll cover the positives. So in terms of negatives, I think that it is kind of bland, it is kind of boring. I mean, the Collider itself in the middle is cool, but the rest is just standard IO stuff we've seen before, and I gotta say, I just am not a huge fan of the IO aesthetic. I said this in the Covert Cavern video as well, but that POI kind of had enough uniqueness with the whole cave aspect that I was able to get behind it. But with this POI, it doesn't really have anything too unique other than the Collider itself. All the rest of the buildings are laid out pretty much exactly how other IO buildings have been laid out in the past. They all look pretty much identical in architecture and design and all that kind of stuff to other IO stuff. And I'm kind of just tired of the IO aesthetic. I mean, I never was a really big fan of it, and this is just another IO POI I'm not a huge fan of. Here's hoping this is the last IO POI that we get, but I'm guessing that probably won't be the case. And also, another thing is that this POI is pretty small compared to a lot of other POIs on the map. If this was released in Chapter 1 or Chapter 2, it would be a really good size for a POI, but Chapter 3 has had some insanely large POIs, so for Chapter 3 standards, it is pretty small. But in terms of loot, I didn't really have many issues with it. Even though it's a pretty small POI, there is a lot of loot. And again, I say small lightly, because for Chapter 2, Chapter 1, this would have been a really good size for a POI. It's just compared to a lot of the other POIs in Chapter 3. But yeah, the size isn't really a huge negative, I just thought I might as well bring it up. So let me go ahead and talk about the positives. First off, this POI gives me really big Dusty Divot vibes. I like the idea of having a POI in a lake where they kind of drained out a bunch of the water. I think that's really cool. It makes for some really cool terrain, and it adds a tad more uniqueness to the POI. I also just like the layout. I think it's a nicely laid out POI where you kind of got the waterfront area, kind of like a dam with a bunch of buildings on it that you can loot, and there's a lot of good loot there. You also got the container yard. You also got a few other extra buildings on the sides, and I think it's just laid out very, very nicely. Lots of distinct different areas to land when you're dropping into this POI. And of course, the Collider in the center adds for some really, really good mobility. Not to mention, you can get jetpacks here, which is definitely a very big perk, especially because most of the airships have been struck down. So the jetpacks are a bit more rare now, so going to this POI for one is a good idea for sure. It's also just cool to have kind of a more central POI, so I think it's just kind of cool to have this kind of thing return again, even if maybe it doesn't end up lasting too long, which is another thing I wanted to talk about. I feel like this POI is going to be really short-lived, like really short-lived. I just kind of have a hunch that by the end of the live event, it's pretty much going to get completely destroyed, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I will say, if you do really enjoy this POI, I would make the most of it now, because there's probably going to be something that happens to it in the live event. That's just what I'm predicting. But yeah, my final verdict on this POI is that it is pretty good. I'm definitely satisfied with this POI, especially because I didn't even think we were going to get a brand new POI anytime soon, or even before the next season started. It's definitely a pleasant surprise to have, and I don't really have many complaints with it other than the fact that I'm just kind of getting tired of the IO stuff. But overall, it's really cool, and I am glad to have it in the game. But what do you guys think about the brand new POI? What are your thoughts about the Collider? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new because I make videos like this all the time, and you can also use my supporter creator code Bendominator in the Fortnite item shop #ad. Thank you guys so much for watching, have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.